Okay, I'm working on my 2007 PT Cruiser here, and I just wanted to show you an issue that I was having. The window over here on this driver's side hasn't been working since I had this car. Now, I already ruled out the switch. I had an extra, and I was simply able to pull this cover off and plug it in, and I knew that switch was working. I'm sure there's another method for testing the power over here at this motor. Now, if you look in here, these are a little bit different from the 2005 and earlier. This is a 2007, but you can see the motor is like up here at this point because the window is raised all the way up. But as I looked in here, I was just going to, check this wiring situation out. I wasn't really expecting to find much, but as you can see right here, this wire is broken that is going to the motor right here. So this is our problem. So what I'm gonna attempt to do is to remove this and see about reconnecting this wire here. So if you are having a similar problem, definitely get in here and check these wires out before you go to ordering you one of these window motors. Usually they come with the whole assembly and everything, with just piece and everything together. So get in here and check these wires out beforehand, because you may not need the motor, and the motors are quite expensive for these. I was looking at them, I think they were like $100 or more on average. So we're gonna attempt to fix this wire on this here. Okay, so I went ahead and got the window secured up there, and I pulled this regulator out. There's only a bolt, a nut at the bottom, and then there's this one up at the top, and then you just simply push that in with a screwdriver and you can pull this whole assembly out. The motor goes in right here, and I've just slid this whole thing out while I'm taking a look at these wires here. It's got 3 of these screws that screw the motor onto this, and they're laying right in there. You can see those 3 little Allen screws, and those just hold this motor on to this piece right here. Now, you could just remove this from the back side, I guess, because there's some Torx holding the actual motor onto that. So if you wanted to just replace this motor, you would have to take this whole thing out regardless, but you could take these 3 Torx and replace this motor assembly. And I've just taken this motor off of here for now, and I'm getting ready to disconnect this wire right here. So it's got the little safety clip. Push that back, and we're going to disconnect this wire, and we'll take this to the bench and see about resoldering and connecting this wire and getting this fixed back up here. Okay, so after you peel this stuff back and push this clip back this way, you will find that there's a clip right here hidden under this insulation stuff, and you push it down right here, and it's also clipped in to this. You'll have to unclip that, and then we'll work it off of there. Okay, so here we have it in here on the bench, and now we can see about doing something with this thing. There's that connector. Okay, now I would probably note that the best thing to do would be to simply come in here and cut this wire back down here somewhere and put some new wire from these solder points back. However, I've just cut in and peeled this back here, revealing the wire that's broken, and I think I'm just going to put a butt connector on here and just see how it goes. If I have to go back in and revisit this thing, then I will just get and put the new wire from here back. Just take the solder loose and just put some new wires all the way back, because these are just starting to get brittle. But I'm going to see what it's going to do with a butt connector for now. Okay, here's what I got. These are the 22 gauge. These have a shrink tube that's built onto them here, and I've just had these laying around, and I'm going to make these work. We'll just heat these up once we get it secured on there real good, and may have to peel a little bit more of this back, but you don't need much. I mean, maybe half of an inch or so to get in there. And then we'll take a little light or something and make that shrink tube, and that'll add a little added security to keep water and stuff out. Okay, so we got that crimped on there good, and now I'm just going to take a lighter to it, and then I'll wrap some tape around it also, maybe give it a little added strength, and then we're going to pop it back in there and see what she's going to do. Okay, so now we're just getting ready to slide the motor back in here. We're going to put those 3 screws, those little ones you see there, back in here. So it'll only go one way. The way the holes line up, there's 2. We're going to go ahead and pop that back in. Okay, so we're getting ready to feed this back in here, and this little studded bolt goes towards you. Those go towards you. And be careful when clamping those down that you don't over tighten. I've heard of people busting their window with that, so be cautious. And this little studded bolt, so I've just got a screwdriver holding this for now. This little studded bolt, I'm going to have to get up here and get my little clamps underneath the window here, and then we'll get the little bolt started in the hole down here. Okay, so there we got that into place. We'll just get our nut on there, and we'll go ahead and get this bolt, this nut started right here. So those are the only 2 holding it, and the other 2 10mm just clamp to your glass. Okay, and these 10mm I'm just hand tightening. I'm going to test it out, you know, make sure it's not going to come loose, but definitely going to be cautious with those. And so we're going to go ahead and get our connector over here that we got. We'll plug that back in there and put our safety lock back down. And we'll lock that. We'll go ahead and snap this right back into place like so. Okay, and just to show you now, we do got it working. Everything appears to be working just fine. The clips are holding, they're plenty tight enough, so just hand tighten them. And now it's working as it should, so that's a beautiful sight there. The only thing we got left, we're just gonna put this little cover back up, slip our little bar back into here. This thing's really dry rotted and brittle, and we'll go ahead and work on snapping our cover back on. We got a little bar that goes right here. Okay, now this thing will actually stick back up here pretty well. That stuff is really goopy and sticky. Feed your connector for your locks back through, put your bar up above this piece where you go to fastening it down. And so we're just going to get this secured really well, and then we'll go ahead and slip our door cover back on. and we'll reattach this to our little blue connector here. Just slide it in and flip this up. Now we just slipped our lock through and this back into the window into its place. And then we'll go ahead and get the rest of our snaps lined up and popped back into place. And then we got to get our 2 screws going back in here, and we've got just the one more small screw that goes right up in here. And lastly, we're just going to pop this back into place. You'll notice I didn't take this loose. We just popped it loose where we could get access. Right, so we got everything fastened down and we got that window working. Didn't cost us a thing, just had to fix the wires in there. So as I said, I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and as always, I invite you to subscribe. Thank you for watching.